Okay, how to train when you're traveling. So if you're into traveling, you like to travel around the world, and you're wondering, how do I work out? How do I work my muscles when I'm traveling? Then this is the video just for you. When you're traveling, depends on what's important to you. If what's important to you is staying on top of your routine when you're traveling, you're visiting your girl or your boyfriend, you gotta find out what type of equipment. So anytime I travel, which is pretty kind of little often, I always check the gyms in the area. I try to find the gym that is closest to the area that I'm going to be in, obviously. And then I ask for the type of equipment that they have. Because surprise, surprise, there's different kinds of gyms, different types of gyms have different types of equipment. And if it doesn't have the equipment, then you can't plan accordingly. So if you are into what I do too, which is powerlifting, then you want to find if there's a gym that has the equipment that you need. Questions that you want to ask the gym: do you have chalk? Do you allow chalk? Do you allow a space to deadlift? Because most gyms don't allow a space to deadlift because it's messy and it's loud. Other things that you want to ask the gym that when you're traveling is, do you have water? Because you'd be surprised, some gyms actually, they have water, but it's not good clean water and it's kind of gross. So you want to be careful with that one. That's actually a pro tip. Think of it in my brain is I think of it in terms of planes of motion. I also think of it in terms of movement. So when you are on a plane or you're driving away in that car and you're sitting on your butt for 5 hours or 3 hours plus, that's a lot of tension on the glutes when you're sitting and you're traveling. So what I would do is I would train my glutes. You can do reverse hyperextension, which I'll have a picture here. I could demonstrate for you, but I demonstrated before in another video, so I'm not gonna do that now. And if the gym doesn't have a reverse hyperextension machine, then you can just do a reverse hyperextension on a back extension, on a Swiss ball, or on a bench. So the reason why I'm saying this is because reverse hyperextension trains the back and the low back and the butt muscles, as well as the hamstrings. You really want to start activating those muscles when you're sitting for too long. Because when you sit for too long, it can start to hurt the back, push pressure on the back, and deactivate the butt. So that's a pro tip for you. Another good exercise to do when you're traveling, I'm assuming that you're not a competitor, you're just somebody that just wants to stay in shape and be healthy, is to not only do the reverse hyperextension, but to also make sure you get some stretching in. Because when you're traveling, it's a lot of stress and a lot of things are going on. There's just too much going on, too much going on at once, and it can get really overwhelming for some people. And if you're one of those people, it's really important to kind of stretch and to maybe get a massage or get somebody to help you relax. Put your body in that parasympathetic mode so that you can enjoy your vacation and you enjoy your time traveling and not be so stressed out, because your body shows. Your body's going to reflect when you're stressed out. It's going to manifest in different ways. Say put more emphasis on your back training, specifically do a lot of rows, do a lot of like opening exercises for your chest. Again, going back to what I said about stretching, open up your chest, because when you're traveling, you're more than likely sitting, and when you're sitting, you're more than likely in this position, kind of crouched over in position. I also want to train a lot of hamstring, because again, your hamstrings, when you're sitting for too long, they shorten. So when I have my legs flexed right now, I'm sitting right now, I have my legs flexed, my feet are flat on the floor, my hamstrings are not extended, they're not elongated, they're contracting right now to a point decently. But to keep the hamstrings in that position for too long, you want to start lengthening, stretching that area. So the last tip I will say to not do, this is what not to do when you're traveling, is don't do anything that you wouldn't do at your normal gym or that you haven't done at your normal gym. The reason being is because when you're traveling, like I mentioned earlier, you're stressed out. It could be a lot on the body. It can take a toll, especially if you're traveling 10 plus hours. you're sitting, you're in a crouch position, and on top of that, you go to the gym, you try to run 10 miles on the treadmill. That's not smart, and that's not really safe. If you think about it, sprinting really on a treadmill isn't really smart to begin with, because it's a treadmill, and unless you're at an incline, it's just not a good move. It puts a lot of stress on the knees, puts a lot of stress on the low back, and if you're traveling, you're trying to pump up your intensity from going from 0 to 100 really quick. It can be a lot. Unless, again, you're a competitor, then you want to warm up properly and make sure that you adjust the time that you need to get your training in. You want to train smart and not hard. I always like to think of it, if I'm traveling, that it's a matter of just maintaining and getting blood flow in. You're not trying to go for a rep. You're not trying to get a 1 rep max. You're trying to get something new and smooth and trying to impress the girl or the guy at the gym. It's not the time and the place to do that, unless you're purposely traveling for that reason. You're trying to go to some event and you're traveling to compete or what have you, then obviously that's a different conversation. So those are my tips on how to train while traveling. I hope that was useful and helpful. If it was, please like the video and check out my other stuff for more, and I'll see you in the next video.